I'm just looking for something to post up here. Apropos.
The way it works is this. I don't know what happened there, but I'm sure that the order didn't get filtered down to the facility before the deportation. If it was like an execution, I'm sure the order would be known instantly. But on something like a deportation, now that person is known, but back then it's just another deportee. So it isn't like there would be a reason to be focusing on the court order. And he wasn't, I guess he wasn't in Utah. He was like in Louisiana or wherever they put him. Right. So again, it would take time. So there's also this fact: the court can order something, but the wheels of the executive branch only start moving generally. Again, if it's known, somebody can make a phone call. But again, in a situation such as that, and being months ago, I would say, when did DHS receive the order physically? Because there'll be a timestamp when they receive it. Generally, I think they usually used to be a timestamp. I don't know how they do it now, but used to have this little machine. You walk, go ping, and that's when you receive the physical order. So if the court or any entity, if you receive a detainer, like an ICE detainer, you go over to the time state machine and go ping, and you log in your right. That way, when you receive the order. So if the judge says, "Well, you deported them on this date," well, judge, we didn't receive the order till that date, so we didn't even know that there was a court order. And she'll probably balk a little bit by saying, "Well, we told your AUSA," but AUSAs are not going to call the prison; they just let the process play out generally, right? Or the detention facility, whatever it is. Well, because I'm sure the AUSA didn't know he was going to be deported. What is the last thing on his mind? He's going to be deported, and we're going to have another Abrego Garcia. Right. It's just a kind of like probably a freak incident. But Utah is not going to be friendly to reducing the immigrant population. They like I said years ago, they're running an immigrant scam. Right. Yeah, they're just scammers. Probably we have. Like, we're shocked that you don't treat us special. It's not how it works. Again, I wouldn't do it exactly as the administration, but they're closer to fixing the United States than anybody else has been. So we go back and well, the economy, this, the economy. Do you know what the economy was? And again, the Trump administration and its people were speaking about it. I don't even think they made the connection yet. So all that money that was getting sent overseas. Remember, they were talking about taxing it, and I don't know if they did that or not. But they need to do that because the economy wasn't the U.S. citizen economy. Do you understand what's going on here? It's an economy propped up by the narco funds and the fraud funds, and the people that are living the good life aren't United States citizens. It's these foreign nationals that are enriching their home country. That's why these presidents are balking. The economy wasn't what Biden said it was, and I'm not sure they're intelligent to know exactly that that's what it was. But again, they're part and parcel to the foreign national enrichment scheme. Right. So the foreign, like I've been noticing, I'm like, I can't even, and these people are being cops are like, yes, sir, no, sir, to foreign nationals all day. Goes way back to Naples. 2006, 2007.
Right.
Disrespecting veterans and former law enforcement and disabled veterans, disabled law enforcement, and kowtowing to rich foreign nationals. And I'm not telling you the Trump administration is without that. They just need to be careful of that because that'll come back to bite them if they're doing that. Been going on the whole time, and I've been telling you it's been going on. So the economy that we were seeing, where all those foreign nationals driving twice the speed, the lawful speed, while drunk on their 7 jet skis, weren't the Americans. Now some Americans are making money, guaranteed, yeah, but not what you were seeing. Foreign nationals were getting richer over the Americans. It was a constant march. They weren't looking for the American dream. They were looking to steal it and own it and decide who gets it and who doesn't get it. And now they're, oh, we're the victim. Oh, woe is us. Right. They're supremacists. The Democrats, they ran on a certain platform. Where'd that platform go the day after they didn't get elected? I mean, you could at least show the American public for the last year that you were about that platform you were running on. And the only reason that the governors and the mayors are helping Trump in some of these cities is to say, oh, he doesn't need the military. We're here to make sure that it happens for him. But of course, it's only happening to a minor degree, what they have to give to make it look good. But then again, the number of people that were augmenting those operations have been hired in, I guess, official federal law enforcement positions. So again, we need it, but we don't need it. So as they increase to hire those positions from before, so then they do have a couple extra off. Now again, it does hurt the mission, but they do have a couple extra law enforcement officers here or there for security, especially new guys. It's a great job for a new guy. Right. Protect me, plebe. I'm going in for an arrest. You know, get busy early. Learn how to get busy early. One of them touched me, plebe. You failed. So again, but then again, we do have to make sure they're trained and constantly reminded of what the rules of engagement and everything else is. So again, that's a scenario. Again, these scenarios play out all over the globe in law enforcement, but generally, you don't have as many. I mean, the operations are immense. I mean, the number of issues in ICE operation is so small. It's not even funny when you go. You have to look at percentage. I mean, it's just immense operation, and really the issues are small. And as far as people dying in custody, it happens all across the globe, and because people are unhealthy or whatever it is. But the number is probably not all that high. I mean, I don't like belittling it, but again, the number is probably in check. Percentage wise, it's probably better than the majority of entities globally. I wouldn't even say just the United States, probably globally. So you see how fast people are trying to protect these foreign nationals. Nobody gave a shit about veterans being treated like that. Nobody gave a shit about former law enforcement officers, disabled people being treated like that, unless they were a foreign national. They know who's buttering their criminal bread as far as corrupt cops, corrupt politicians, so on and so forth. Right. I get some shoes. My feet are squeaky. This floor makes squeaky sounds. No, I suspected the LDS. I gave him chances a couple times in life, but I suspected him a couple times. And maybe that's what they were playing off of, but that's foo on them. I came in good faith to try to see what I could do there. After a while, it became apparent that it would not be conducive to a normal life, at least for me. Again, they pick and choose who they're going to bring into the criminal enterprise, and I was obviously not somebody they were going to, even for a second, bring into the criminal enterprise. Right? Nah, it's not political. Political is an excuse. It's a big cover story that criminals use these days. It's always some little political bullshit. In fact, you'll have absolute liberals come in as conservatives, and absolute conservatives come in as liberal. It's part of the PI scheme. It's part of the spycraft scheme. They just come in and say, "Well, I'm a big conservative. This guy's a liberal," or whatever story they need to tell you. They set in motion. Again, these are all patterned after Central Intelligence Agency foreign operations, and it's being used against Americans. And they learned it from CIA operators. Again, it's a major leak of the crown jewels. So again, that's what's coming against ICE. It's all spycraft. Right? They already used it against me. Years ago, I told you it existed. Right? No, the foreign nationals, like they try to make it out about me. Again, you flip the script. I was one of the first big DACA supporters because my inside's big. So it moved DACA forward, which I still believe in, but I believe it needs to be a managed program where, we need to receive a case file of what the circumstances are. I mean, it's you're not gonna be able to prove one way or the other a lot of it probably, but at least let's get some information. Let's interview the person. The agent, an agent interviews the person and says, okay, is it truthful or not truthful? So the DACA requires an effort by the applicant to divulge the facts of how they ended up where they did. And if it's their parents, it's their parents. If your parents, because it's child abuse. It really is. Yeah, we see tons of child abuse in these cases. Sacrificing your daughter's virginity so you can make a few dollars down the road because and maybe citizenship in the United States because your kid's in the United States as a citizen or has 15 kids as a citizen. Right. They don't care. They're just it's the kids in Central and South America that are doing it especially the way it was. I don't know how it is now. They were a commodity. It was a commodity. The parents were going to get rich off that, and they're going to party while the United States raised their kid. They sit back in their country and party while the kids get raised here, free of charge. Free of charge. I agree to what the Bible says about immigration and the stranger, but I don't agree to the scam. Again, Satan does this all the time. Flip the script, right? Change a couple factors in the situation and then say it's still the same, right? Just like a law enforcement officer is honest by the nature of being a law enforcement officer. That's one of the big scams that they use against me. And again, that's probably why they wanted me to exit law enforcement. They made it impossible. There's just no way, right? It was tortured until I left. No, CIA level torture. CIA doesn't walk around foreign countries trying to manipulate things by physically torturing people. I mean, in small cases, abductions, and then, usually taken to a third country. But they're psychologically torturing people. Which is more difficult to prove. That's why they do it. And then if you spend money and create a private investigation firm that's a scam, these people left the government while they were working for foreign nationals and criminal organizations, and then they start a PI firm because they're being bankrolled, and now they're the big pedophile hunter. But it's just a big scam to make money protecting the pedophiles and other such people, right? They always go, "Why would we do it?" Well, that's why you would do it. There's plenty of why would you do it, and then you also paid millions of dollars that you wouldn't earn because you're at the very most a mediocre investigator.
Right.
Some of the biggest names in law enforcement and private law enforcement type stuff circles, they're just corrupt pieces of shit. Been pieces of shit their whole life. Their families are pieces of shit. That's real. That's why we have fentanyl, because they don't give a shit. They just want their pool, their Lamborghini, whatever level they can get to. The pool, the house, the Lamborghini, and the test. Okay, Elon, they work for it. What about the food? Does he have information that they were paid in Tesla? Maybe a couple. There's been a couple of Tesla purchases given the criminal operators of the deep state. At least that's the answer. Some things are coming out, and I don't know if it's true. They could be launching it because they want me. They'll say, always try to say I obsess over people that obsess over me. Right. But it's saying that it fits. Well, that part's true. It fits their sexuality, but I don't know what happened. Right. The whole Jonathan Luna and his lady friend thing, and then her ending up in certain circles, is kind of proof that that's maybe what happened. Psychosexually, the idea that they kill John and then they kidnap her in life, and she has to be subservient to them. Well, but see, the whole you're a sex criminal thing is a criminal scam. Yeah, they're sex criminals, obviously, because they won't be stopped. They make you afraid to stop them. Like, oh, if you say that, then that's obviously you're a sex criminal. Right. It works on people's psychology. The CIA operators, if they would be honest with you, I don't know if they're allowed to tell you anything, or maybe they don't want to tell you because somebody will attack them. It's going to work on your psychology whether you know it exists or not. There's no way that you're not affected in some way that they want you to be affected. Because they overwhelm. Again, it's what's that sex cult, MVXIM or XIM, whatever it is, Rainier. Because you can't fight it because they overwhelm. Right. I mean, you can and you can't. So it's going to change your psychology. Well, the judge was an Obama appointee, but I don't think 100% that that's playing into this case per se. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Again, I think it was just a simple error, and that's what the judge should be told. I'm not sure if he. I mean, if he is a criminal, find that out. I mean, I'm not telling you not to investigate the person, because now that it's risen to a different level, you need to look at it. Okay, is this guy actually not a criminal? Right. It wouldn't be vindictive. It's just the idea that he was deported. Now he's coming back. Well, let's make sure that he isn't a criminal. Now, as far as charging, I would have still probably I would have worked out an amicable deportation for Abrego Garcia. It was just so early in the game that we didn't need the bullshit. And that's why I think the U.S. attorney that knew this kind of stuff. He may have been a seasoned person that knew, hey, we dispose this, because you're moving so many operations. This person's nobody in the bigger scheme, right? Or scheme, whatever it is. Well, because you get bogged down. Abrego Garcia bogged you down. That's what they wanted. So you gotta Right. He was your fix-it man, and you fired him. He was doing the fix-it thing. I was a fix-it guy in the government. There's fix-it people in the government. I don't mean it's a criminal, criminally, hiding anything or anything like that. Anything illegal. But there's fix-it people, like what his name was, Cohen, something. Well, he was handling it. Handle it, and then you walk away from it. Let your experts handle it. Your fix-it people. That's what he was doing. That's what he was trained to do. And maybe that's why they put him on the case. I don't know. They may have been like, handle it. Give it to so and so. He'll handle it. Yeah, there's no doubt they were working for criminals. No doubt there was some sort of, PI level in the Marshal Service. People, and again, I was friendly with them, but so I don't know. But actually, my wife was friendly with one dude. Yeah, they screwed up my life. There's just no doubt that they were countering it, because the one guy who was this, what was he? Baltimore City Sergeant. Yeah, Baltimore City Sergeant. He ended up. He was a big fugitive guy for us. I mean, he was great at what he did. Right? We did all the homicide things with him. He and there were a couple others, but just think about him. He was a friend. He ended up being a friend with my wife. And then we moved, and I guess, and our kids went to school together and everything. But I was friendly with him enough, and you know, he ended up opening up a bail bonds type of thing. That's what happens with fugitive people when they. But he wasn't one of them. I don't think. I mean, I'm sure he wasn't going to rock the boat. You know, but we. But there were others. That worked her up. All you got to do is get a PI license, and then pretend you're investigating somebody, and you pay the right people. You can do whatever you want to the person. Big scam. No, I suspect that Somalis were doing some of that. They obviously, what's that, Fort Lauderdale, the one Ponzi schemer. I mean, the chief of police was even driving him around. I mean, that's how bad it was. He was one of like the Madoff era Ponzi guys. And I'm not totally against Ponzi if you can pull it off. if at some point you know how to resurrect, right? And I'm sure people have done that. They've resurrected and never got busted. But you have to be responsible Ponzi, right? And I guess that as long as you're pulling it off, it generally doesn't come to the attention of the authorities until it starts failing. Right. Right. Yeah. And to a certain degree, that's the way people raise capital and other things. I'm going to clean here while I speak. Go dirty. No, I'm sure they're open. So I don't think I actually looking at it, and then question is, when did DHS receive the order? Just because the judge sat in a courtroom with a bunch of attorneys didn't mean that anybody received the order. I think that's what they were saying. I don't think they said she sent the order and then they deported them. It usually takes a few days to, and who knows? They may not even still have the order. It may never have. May never have received the order. That's the other possibility, that she said it, and did her staff send the order, or did they bolo it? Somewhere, I guess there's some sort of. I don't know if they do it different, but there's usually a time state stamp machine, and they get the order, and they go ping, ping. And they don't make that noise anymore. And that's to prove that did we have the order or didn't we have it? Just because the judge orders it doesn't mean that the that the facility or even the agency has the order. So again, it's like 24 hours. That's like a nothing time period for an order. Right? I mean, you would hope that the U.S. attorney would say something, but based upon what I think the facts of the case are, the individual was held in a different state. I would say that the attorney probably didn't call anybody or talk to anybody, and even if it's in the same state, maybe not. But again, obviously, Abrego Garcia was kind of this idea. I mean, it's a little vindictive, if not vindictive completely. But like this particular guy, obviously, if they're ordering him back to the United States, you need to take a closer look at him and make sure that he actually isn't a criminal. And there may be some hidden information about him that they're not willing to divulge. They may have looked at his logs or something and say, wait, this isn't somebody we want to keep here. No, you're responsible for all that kind of stuff when you're in an immigrant status. In the Florida in front of the stove. Spray some of that cleaner, some Mr. Clean antibacterial. Yeah, I don't have a problem with lawful immigration at all. At a certain point, we're gonna, we need to, look at that a little bit closer. Well, I mean, we can see that everyday Americans aren't even allowed to have a drug-free life. I'm telling you, I know how it works, right? But foreigners are running around with millions of dollars in big houses. Why? Because they know the bribe game. And for some reason, they're not arrested for it. A lot of Americans get arrested for things. So that's another thing that happened. You've seen Americans going down everywhere. Like, foreigners, they're living the great life. Nothing going on over here. Just like every other criminal, deny, deny, deny. Don't let them see you sweat. Right. And that's what's going on. It's like Venezuela. We demand to see proof of life. They're still trying to maintain like they're somebody, It's like they're Hitler in the bunker, barking out commands and orders. Just run this vacuum here for a second. So when you use a dust mop or sweep, the quickest way to get rid of the pile of stuff is with a vacuum, and you don't have to put it in the dust pan and all that. So again, I highlighted in like 2017 the fact that immigrants, or maybe 18 immigrants, we have an obligation to treat immigrants well, but this is not immigration. What's going on? This is ravaging of us. And again, I didn't realize the corruption as far as fraud and all that was that far. I knew there was criminal enterprise. I knew the narco scam was going on. I knew there were dirty cops, dirty PIs. Well, this is a scam. You get a PI license. Oh, my client. You know, who is the real client? Again, these people are groomed in their career to come out after their career and then be this person that had this quote unquote career. But you know, you ask anybody in law enforcement that's willing to speak, they'll tell you a lot of them are just bullshit. They're not the best of the best. They were groomed to appear to be the best of the best, just for this purpose. In fact, they're felons, career criminals. So they have the scam. My client, you know, they did bust one, but you know, just asked for a fine. So these people need to go to prison. You know, go just a little fine for working for a foreign government. That's not going to do anything because the foreign government will they'll pay them right back or already paid them more than you're gonna fine them. So I mean, it's a cost of doing business. You make them pay 200,000, they already made 10 million. Right. See, that's built into the system. That's Comey, Mueller, and all those people. That's their system that they create. That you never lose money for being a criminal in their, you know, criminal enterprise. The other criminal enterprise, they arrest them, you know, because it's the cover story. Yeah, they got in my head when I was purchasing some furniture, and I purchased the wrong furniture, and you know, I'm trying to work it out. I think I might return one. I tried to get a decent refund. It's gray, it's not black, and I just have again. They don't have to spell it exactly, but they knew they were cursing my purchases at the time, so it caused me to buy something that I actually, when looking at it, I had the premonition, but I couldn't act on it. Right. But this is what they do all day. They f the person's life, and there is no idea that you just be quiet. Because if I bring that, oh, you already said too much. There was a time I didn't say anything, and they were killing me 10 times as hard, but I was much younger and had a better support network. Right. So again, don't let them tell you that something's changed now. Yada yada yada. It's all about him. Well, they're narcos, man. Russian mafia, the Romanian mafia. They all were there in Naples to make a few dollars back and forth. Right. That's who they use. And they pay them government funds. This is the weird part. Like, you think it's just happening like in healthcare? No, it's happening in law enforcement and everything. They're paying them big informant dollars for bullshit. And they're not even paying them for the informant information that they say they're receiving. It's for the overall criminal operation and the scam. Right. So you got people that are, because remember that FBI, they'd be like, what is it with the FBI informants? They're all dope dealers. It's still true. Or I don't know if it's now, but it was. Because that's the scam. The dope dealers are giving them money too. The drug proceeds. And then they, every once in a while, you know, just to legitimize the relationship, they give them money. And then it's the cover story. Oh, they were investigating a drug organization. It's just like Hughes' son that was affiliated with the Yogi Bhajan sex cult. They gave him a job and a position. And they got a big contract, and you know, back and forth. But he was DEA, and they said, "You got to go, bro." Nobody said that to me. In fact, the people that the DEA would say you got to go to are the ones that made my life untenable in the government. He was forced to resign. Allegations of working with narcos. I'm sure Hughes was a cocaine cowboy in Maryland State Police. And probably an assassin that killed other officers that committed suicide or had to go out on disability. So they elevated him to the federal government. Right. So again, we got to look most likely somebody in Mexico told this guy that we were coming in or that we were looking at him. If again, he may have fled before you decided to go and hit the properties, uh, but somebody told him something was up. He fled. Check into the fact that he could be in a different country, on an island, even. Again, is El Mencho actually in Mexico? Or is he possibly outside of Mexico? They say he's in Mexico in some sort of stronghold in the jungle or something. Underground is a good possibility if you can't find him. Again, El Chapo tried underground, but he didn't build a good enough facility. At least I think he did. Again, they're not honest in Mexico, so he just needed a network of people he could set up. I guess it was in Mexico. There was a dead end road, or no, it was a road that led to nowhere, but it was used by the narcos. And there was no use for the road other than the narcos. So nobody ever went down that road because there was nothing there but the narcos. That's the level of corruption that you're actually looking at. That's not by happenstance. Right. What they call it, the civil projects are actually for the benefit of the narco community. Let's build a road for the narcos. Nobody gets to use. It's like their driveway. It was essentially a road, a major road, but it was essentially their driveway to their operation, and nobody goes down it because nobody has a need to go down it. Again, we have LDS and other religions all over the world. Once upon a time, they were in. Again, once upon a time, CIA was in. They're doing their thing. Well, they would. Obviously, they were some of our biggest spies. Religious community. Cold War spies. Now they seem to work for the enemy. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God and all.